Okay, good morning, folks. We're glad everyone could join us today, and we're looking forward to another stellar presentation from Captain John Rahm. Uh, he has kind of kept it a secret what he's talking about because I never knew what dot means. But anyway, we look forward to that, and I'm sure y'all will all be appreciative. One of the things this is by the co-op put on by NCO with the umbrella of the three sailing clubs, which are NSA, ODC, and SCU. And with the help of each of the three clubs and their members, we're able to put on these type of events. Thank you. Enjoy the seminar. Enjoy Captain Rom and his lovely assistant, his beautiful wife, Julie.
Lean in.
Good morning.
John, we can see your screen if you want to do your intro.
All right. Hey, welcome to Have You. This is a risk reduction, enjoy your boat more, and intent is not to shame you. I try really hard when I do two of these a year, and I try not to do the same one every time. So this is a brief on stuff I've noticed that folks don't do. So my intent is a little esoteric, but I want to just talk about things that you will recognize in some of the other briefs I've done. So a lot of the little things I've rolled together in this brief, and that is my intent. So some little bit of admin. I'm from Philadelphia, so I talk quickly and I slur my words together. If you don't understand what I'm saying, just interrupt me, unmute yourself, or send in the chat, and I will answer all the questions. And of course, there'll be some time at the end where you can do that too. Hey, thanks for the three clubs for putting this together. Really a good thing. We used to do the stand-up in the town hall, but this is working a lot better. A lot more opportunities for participation, and I kind of like this change. Hey, thanks to Sharon for the link, and my wife Julie right beside me for the technical expertise, and a lot of thanks to Bob, who has really put a lot of time into getting the videos online, and that was a big leap forward. Hey, this is my credibility slide that I use in every presentation. Graduated from school, spent a lot of time in the Marine Corps, got bareboat certified. We owned the Island Chariot for 13 years. I kind of cut my teeth as an ASA instructor here in town. Did that for 10 seasons, and then I kind of went out on my own, and now I do private instruction aboard boats, so owners' boats. So folks will buy a big boat, and they're really uncomfortable about docking or how to run it, and I'll go aboard and provide assistance. So in 2021, I ran 45 different boats, and then this year, last year, really 2024, I'm between 70 and 75 different boats here in town. I'll typically do maybe 2 or 3 things a week, and I also write the captain's blog on Town Dock, which is a lot of fun to do. So anyway, that's me. They say when you give one of these, you got to establish some credibility, and that's my attempt to do that. So in case you heard, this was me about 1,000 years ago. I flew a Harrier into the National Mall between the Capitol and the Washington Monument. And if you go to towndock.net, that story's on there too. A lot of folks ask me about this, and so I tossed that out there too. About 1,000 years ago, that was my life. Hey, I won the Robert Hyde, the Doc Hyde Award last year for enhancing sailing in Oriental. So I like to take this opportunity to thank the 3 clubs for picking me. This is a pretty short list to be on, and it's a great honor. And I thank everybody in the clubs for this recognition. So have you done these things? Chuck said, "Hey, I don't know what the 3 dots mean." I go, the 3 dots are, have you done these things too? Have you done these things to get the most enjoyment from your boat? A lot of folks don't use their boat enough, and if they do just a few of these things, I think it would be more comfortable for them. They'll get more enjoyment out of the boat and reduce some of the risk, and then get the return on investment, get that enjoyment that you've paid for in the boat. So anyway, again, that's my intent on the brief. So I'm going to put some thoughts in your head. My disclaimer is this is the stuff I've done, but it's certainly not the only way. Again, three sailors on a boat equals 5 opinions. And that's what I tell everybody. So this is kind of what I do and stuff of what I've noticed. So risk reduction, kind of maybe 4 ways to do risk reduction aboard a boat. I like procedures because they don't cost money. On our boat, the Island Chariot, we had a boat standard operating procedures manual. It was about 5 or 6 pages, and in the SOP, there were rules. Like nobody tinkled off the back of the boat at night. Nobody left the cockpit at night. Nobody went forward at night.
Paul said he's running late.
At night, everybody was clipped into a harness or on a pad eye or jack line. In the daytime, if you didn't want to wear your PFD or clip in, fine. But nobody went forward on the boat without eyes being on. So, and then if we would tack or jibe the boat, sometimes we would bring somebody aboard. So anyway, I wrote all these procedures out, and we had school. When I moved the boat with friends or we did a big race, we would have school aboard and go over the boat SOP. So I like procedures because they don't cost money. But the hard thing is enforcing the rules with your friends. That's the hard thing about the boat SOP. Something like alcohol on the boat. I like happy hour. Not bashful about that. But if the boat was moving or there was a chance that we'd have to leave the anchorage in the middle of the night, happy hour was canceled. So things like that on the boat. Anyway, education, really good method to reduce risk. Reading webinars like this, stuff out on YouTube. I tell folks there is education and training. If training is the boat, then education is the water that floats it. So I always, again, when I coach folks aboard their boat, I try not to do education. I try to focus on the training. But the education is really important. One of my blogs on Town Doc, I labeled Men at Work, and the point of that blog was the most important work you can do on your boat is work on yourself, improve your skills and education. So anyway, education, training, and then equipment. Equipment is my last choice for reducing risk because it costs money. And it becomes obsolete. But they're kind of the 4 methods I use to reduce risk, the risk of sailing or the risk of boating. And again, if you look on my blog, there's a specific brief out there that I talk about risk reduction because that's a webinar in itself. Equipment, again, I kind of roll into the equipment. Case in point, I say men are the worst. Hey, Julie, I really want to buy this gold-plated particle beam separator on the boat because it's a safety issue and I love you. So we need this thing. So, and then you spend a lot of money and you're like, oh my God. So anyway, when it comes to equipment, the way we did it is we had 3 lists. We had the stuff we needed for around town, what I call around town, and then the stuff we needed for coastal cruising. Like go out the inlet, down the coast, back in the inlet. And then the offshore stuff, the go to Bermuda stuff. For instance, life raft, on the offshore list. How about radar? Yeah, don't need radar around town. How about AIS? Yeah, don't need AIS around town. We put AIS on the boat specifically for the Chesapeake Bay at night. That's what I wanted the AIS for. Until I got there, I didn't worry about it too much. So I like the 3 list approach, and also when we bought a piece of equipment to reduce the risk, you had to ask yourself. I asked myself, what risk am I mitigating? Is it risk of collision, risk of flooding, electrical fire? How about a galley fire? Do you have a fire blanket in the galley? So if you can't identify what risk you are mitigating by purchasing the gold-plated particle beam separator, then maybe you don't need that thing. And again, I like redundancy. My aviation background, I I'm an advocate of redundancy. So, for instance, nav. We had a chart plotter on the boat, one at the nav station, one in the cockpit, and then we had a Toughbook Panasonic laptop, GPS capable, that we ran MapTech compact discs on. So that was the second layer. Third layer was a handheld Garmin GPS, layer number 3. Layer number 4, a cell phone, and we also had an iPad as well. So I'm a redundancy advocate, and a lot of things you can buy fairly inexpensively, and have some good backup systems. Anyway, beating the dead horse. Second thing is, have you tied your boat in an optimized manner? A lot of inefficient and ugly docking is caused by the fact that the boat is tied up. The boat could be tied up better in order to assist you. And on Saturday, the 12th of April, I'm going to do my tying up the boat presentation for the boat show. So I invite everybody up. I invite you to visit me on Saturday afternoon for the How to Tie Up Your Boat to 10 Commandments brief. So how to tie up your boat to 10 Commandments. I'm going to start with that one. And then I'm going to roll into the How to Dock Your Boat to 10 Commandments. So it's kind of a 2-part brief there at the boat show. So come visit me. The 10 Commandments of docking, that'll be fun. There they are. They're the 10 Commandments, how to secure your boat in a slip. But John, they're 15. I know I lied to you. They're 15. And then how to dock your boat. And there's 12 of those. So really not 10. I came up with a couple other ones. So I'm going to beat that dead horse at the boat show. Come visit me. On Town Dock, these are the docking blogs. I've kind of given you the list here. Getting underway, the loop lovers versus the bitter end, spring lines, the knots, and one of my favorite ones, I'm sorry for what I said when we were docking our boat. So anyway, you go in Town Dock, they're on there, and you can that is before I coach somebody in docking, this is homework for them. And I say 90% of docking issues is education. If you're smart on how you do it, it goes a lot better for you. Have you made checklists? My aviation background makes me wedded to checklists. I tell my friends, I don't go to the bathroom without a checklist. It's not true, but I have the prep for weather checklist that I borrowed from a book called Further Offshore by Ed Mapes, who does sailing in Annapolis. This is my pre-engine start checklist, post-engine start, and then kind of my mini welcome aboard brief. If you have friends aboard your boat, hey, back down the companionway. Here's how the heads work. Here's where the fire extinguishers are, what your responsibilities are, all that stuff. Then when we're going somewhere, I do a mini brief. Hey, we're going to Beaufort. We're and the implied task is to get to Beaufort and not damage the boat, not have anybody hurt. Blah, 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 blah. I reduce visibility. Then the favorite one is the walk away checklist. Because I'd be back at the house going, man, did I turn on the battery charger or not? Or did I leave the water heater on? So there's kind of my walk away checklist. And even though I wouldn't specifically remember doing that particular circuit breaker, I knew if I did the checklist, I probably got that item. Then there's page 2, my pre-cast off checklist. There's our sail plan, and so when the wind pipes up, we had this plan in the can. We would know what we were going to do if the wind, and then if the wind came up. Then the monitoring and maintenance checklist. We're going down the waterway, how the battery's doing. Every hour, checking the engine, every half hour, belts, hoses, fluids, the generator, fuel drinking. So anyway, I like checklists. Yeah, I like them a lot. Have you done planning sheets? This is the stubby pencil guy in me. My philosophy is if I have a total electrical failure in the boat, I can still get to Ocracoke. So I break down the route into segments. Oriental 1 to Gum Thicket to Noose River, and then past Brand Island Shoals Light, and then I do the course, do the mileage, the time for the segments, and then it's at 6 and 7 knots. I was delivering a boat from Annapolis to, I think it was Oriental, 1 year, going down the Chesapeake. Had my planning sheet, and I arrive at the first turn point, and there's no buoy there. I go, wow, that's weird. This is supposed to be a big buoy, not there. So I go, okay. So I turned on time to my heading, and I arrive at the second buoy, not there either. I go, wow, something is wrong. I go, 2 buoys missing in the Chesapeake, very unlikely. So I plotted my position, took it on chart, and I couldn't figure out why I was off so much. Here, the nav system was in true. The owner had left it in true, and I didn't catch it. I'm driving the boat in magnetic, nav system in true, and I'm a couple miles off where I should be. So sometimes my point I'm trying to make is sometimes these planning sheets can save you. So I'll do one of these going to Beaufort because I want to arrive at Beaufort at slack current, not high tide or low tide. I want to arrive at slack current, different time, because the current rips through Taylor Creek down there, and I want to get docked at the Beaufort docks without a lot of current. So I will go, okay, slack current is at this time, and I'll start at the bottom and back all this planning up to know what time I have to leave Oriental in order to arrive there. Then this is a good how goes it too. Hey, in order to arrive at Beaufort at slack current, what time do I have to be under the Core Creek Bridge? And that way I'm either on time or not on time and need to speed up or slow down or whatever. So anyway, my navigation officer takes care of a lot of this with me, Julie. And again, if the speed drops down, if we plan the voyage for 6 knots and we're 5, then we'll probably start the engine and we'll have to do something about that. Have you exercised your boat? Oh my goodness. Hey, hey, Mr. Smith, when is the last time your boat left the slip? Well, John, it's been a while. Yes, Mr. Smith, when did you last? It's been since last spring. How do you think that's going to go for me? Not well. I'm driving a boat here in a couple of weeks that has not left the slip in 3 years. 3 years. If you think I don't lay awake in bed at night thinking about that, you are mistaken. So, hey, exercise your boat. Even if you're not leaving the slip, start the boat, put it in gear, and turn the systems on. So, have you practiced crew overboard? My disclaimer with this is risk of occurrence pretty low, but yet risk of severity pretty high when someone goes in the water. My issue with the crew overboard stuff that gets taught is they don't do systems engineering. I like the soup to nuts, beginning to end systems engineering approach for crew overboard. So, and that's, for me, that's 5 steps. Prevention. Hey, Captain John, what have you done to keep everybody aboard your boat? If like I say, if the answer is I told everybody to be careful, no. One hand for you, one hand for the boat, that's not working. Again, prevention, that's equipment and procedures. I talked about the procedures before. Nobody tinkles off the back of the boat at night. Everybody's clipped in at night. Everybody's wearing a PFD and harness at night, and nobody goes forward day or night without somebody watching. So I like those procedures. For prevention, are there jack lines? Does everybody have a harness? Does everybody have a PFD? Are there pad eyes in the cockpit? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and then so step number 2 is, how are you going to know somebody fell overboard? Do they have a whistle on their vest? Hey, that's the crew overboard whistle. If you hear that, come a running because somebody's in the water. Keeping sight. What's your plan for keeping sight? And then the maneuvers. Everybody likes to jump to the maneuvers, talk about the figure 8, this and that. But again, I like, when I'm doing crew overboard, I like to start at the beginning. And then there's the recovery. How are you going to get somebody aboard? Last fall, I went to the Fairfield Harbor Yacht Club up there in the Northwest Creek, and we practiced a recovery. They put somebody in the water. They put a victim in the water, and on a boat, they practiced pulling that gentleman out of the water. And I tell you, it was not easy. Not easy. It's one thing to think about it in your living room, but it's another thing to put somebody in the water and doing it. So anyway, beating the dead horse about this. So prevention, knowing, keeping exciting maneuvers and recovering, probably some first aid at the end too. I kind of tossed that in. So I do, for one of the boat shows, I think I did crew overboard. So that brief is out there too. And I encourage you to take a look at that. Have you keep the boat ship shape? I go to a lot of boats, they're unclean and not organized. Oh my goodness. On the Coast Guard captain's test, on every test, 25 ton, 50 ton, 100 ton, 200 ton, able-bodied seamen, all those tests, one of the questions is, what is the most effective means of preventing fire aboard a boat? And the answer is housekeeping. Multiple choice, you have 5 choices. The answer to that test question is housekeeping. So in a lot of boats that I go to, have like rags in the bilge. Way bad. Way bad. Yep. There's the maneuvers. I put this in the wrong place. The crew overboard maneuvers: figure 8, broader reach, close haul, quick stop, and heave 2. So again, I encourage you to go to the brief. If you can't, my opinion, if you can't clearly articulate or draw these on a piece of paper, then you have an educational problem. You have an educational deficit, and it would behoove you to practice these maneuvers and figure them out. Go to my brief, think about it, practice them. When you're out there, put something in the water. My friends will sail straight lines all day long, to the South River and back. Hey, throw a PFD in the water and see if you can recover it. Get the boat back there without starting the engine and picking that thing up. When I do this for owners, in the middle of one of these maneuvers, I will put a second PFD in the water. And then after we recover the first one, then we have conversation about how is the best way to get back there to pick up the second one that I've thrown in the water. So anyway, that's the maneuvers. For ASA Sailing School, ASA 101, if the client can't perform a figure 8 maneuver, he doesn't get signed off. For ASA 103, if the client can't perform a figure 8 and a broader reach close haul maneuver, he doesn't get signed off for ASA 103. 105, the bareboat chartering, if he can't perform a quick stop maneuver, he doesn't get signed off. So these maneuvers are taught in sailing school, and a lot of the owners, oh my goodness, my friend had a 54-foot Hylas, totally oblivious to any of this. So if you're an owner of a sailboat, this should be in your repertoire of skills. And if you practice these, you'll become a really, really good sailor if you're able to do these maneuvers. So anyway, I'm beating a dead horse. Have you made your boat safe? Why, yes, John. I've had the Coast Guard Auxiliary come aboard and they examined all my safety equipment. Hey, not good enough. Not good enough. So I like the Bermuda Ocean Race. I'm just going to jump right into the middle bullet here. The Bermuda Ocean Race from Annapolis to Bermuda. It's I don't want to say it's junior varsity, but it's more participant friendly race. The ones out of Marion and Newport, they're pretty much varsity races, and they're very strict about the participants. But the Bermuda Ocean Race out of Annapolis is put on by the Southport. Southport Yacht Club, I think, puts it on. Eastport, that's right. Eastport Yacht Club puts it on, and the checklist for that race is a really good document. So are your lifelines coded? How much play is in your lifelines? What should be in a ditch bag? So before you participate in this Bermuda Ocean Race, a race committee member will come aboard your boat and run through this checklist to make sure that your boat is safe to participate. So I have an old version of this. If you can drill down and find one of these online and go through it. Is your manual bilge pump above deck or below decks? For this race, your manual bilge pump must be above the deck. So we had to put one, in above deck. So I had 2 manual bilge pumps in the boat. One below decks that came with the boat, Island packet, and the other one I had to install above the decks in order to satisfy the race committee. I could not get a waiver for the manual bilge pump, had to put it in. but anyway, I like that. Yeah, because the legally required safety equipment boarding, not good enough. Like an anchor not required. Coast Guard does not require an anchor on your boat. So I think the next level is like the race committee inspection checklist for the Bermuda Ocean Race. So I tossed that out there as an option. So this is pretty much the end of the brief. I like to make the coming and going easier, so folks get more enjoyment out of the boat and take the angst out of it. I think if the coming and going becomes routine, your docking become routine, you can reduce some of the risk on your boat and get the enjoyment that you deserve out of your boat. Prevent damage, and hey, visit me at the boat show. Next week's webinar is do you have? So again, I got three. Chuck's like, what do the three dots mean? I go, this is good. I'm gonna put something together on equipment. So this is gonna focus on equipment. Like this morning, I kind of focused on have you done, like more procedures. But this is gonna be equipment focused next week. So that's my evil plan for you guys next week. Hey, I'm available. I do owners training, half day. I work pretty cheap. I do weddings, birthdays, bar mitzvahs, funerals, and I'm gonna market like a half day crew overboard package at the boat show. There's my there's the website, and there's my cell phone number. Drop me a text, and I will get back to you. I will send you a copy of this brief if you want it. Chuck and Bob have copies. They're gonna put the video up online, and that's me. All right. And any questions? I got one chat. I'm sorry. Excellent presentation and valuable resource. Okay.
Well, John, once again, thank you. Now I know what the ... means for the first seminar, and I'll just check you out next week to hold you to ... again.
My intent is just to give some folks some food for thought.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do docking again or how to tie up your boat again or crew overboard again. I think they're pretty old subjects. So I tried to do something a little different this morning.
Well, we appreciate it, and it was very, very good. And as always, you are a great presenter. We know your aviation background, so as Todd Cox was telling me Thursday, he's going to keep checking that box off till you give him what he wants. So, I said, okay. I guess two pilots talking to each other.
Yeah.
But
yeah. George says when docking, the saying is you don't want to go only as fast as you want to hit something. That's what I tell people.
Well, that's one of my my things too. I have my own dock, so if I hit it hard enough, I got to repair it.
Yeah.
It gets expensive, but we appreciate it. We've always appreciated you and Julie, and thank you so very, very much. I also want to thank Dennis Marlin, who helps us organize this over the year. We get started. We should start 5 months in advance, but we sometimes start 6 weeks in advance. But we end up with a good group of people each year, and all the thanks goes out to you people who are attending on Saturday mornings and giving us support, giving the NCO support and the other things we do. And we wouldn't have these seminars without you. So thank you very much. We will continue planning for next year. And I would ask any of you who have any suggestion of how to improve what we're doing or a suggestion on a topic you would like to hear, please get in touch with one of us or use the NCO seminar email address. It'll come to me and we'll take care of it.
Yeah, I'll put something together because I don't like doing the same thing every time.
Well, we appreciate that. I mean, this year's sign-up attendance is down a little. I don't know why, but I do know throughout the number of fundraisers I'm involved in, charitable donations have been down as well for a lot of the clubs and for some of the other things I'm part of. And so it's just that that lull, I guess, this year. So keep participating, keep asking questions. I know a lot of names over the past 5 years that I've been writing them down and sending them back out. But if you see me on the streets, please stop and introduce yourself. I would I would like to know who the faces behind the names, who I muted and who I didn't mute and that kind of thing. So uh, we thank you. You take care. We also have a list of sponsors that's on um, our um, our Facebook page, I believe, and I didn't bring it with me, but it's like we have 13 sponsors, active sponsors right now. That's what allows us to put on these particular events. Also, we are in the home stretch of becoming a certified 501c3 nonprofit as NCO. So we're out there trying to help the county, the youth, and also give information to all of you guys like what John just did. Have a great day.